Good morning, friends, and welcome back to Quick Thoughts Devotions. Continuing on this week's look at the surprising nature of love, trying to find a biblical view and perspective of that word that we so often misuse and cheapen really in the way that we use it. Taking as a text some verses from John chapter 11. Can't read the entire chapter for sake of time, but it's a wonderful account of how Jesus interacts with Lazarus and Mary and Martha, people whom he loves. Now, as I've said, and we'll hear in this reading, all the actions of Jesus, the entirety of his choices, his words, and his deeds in this chapter are all an extension of, an expression of, his love for them. We read in the opening part of the chapter how that Lazarus fell ill, and the word was made known to Jesus. He was notified of Lazarus' illness, and he said that the end of this illness was not Lazarus' death, but it was for the glory of God. Let's pick up the reading, John chapter 11, verse 5. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that Lazarus was ill, he stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. Then, after this, he said to the disciples, "Let us go to Judea again." Now, my friends, this is where the surprising nature of love gets surprising. This is where we'll be stretched to understand this. But know that the timing of Jesus' arrival and travel, and it was all perfect. We think it was faulty, or we would have thought. No doubt the people there thought it was faulty when Jesus did arrive. They said, "But Lord, if you had only been here in time, you could have saved him. He would not be dead." Now, in the opening part of the chapter, Jesus said the end of this illness will not be Lazarus' death. But make no mistake about it, the Bible student who is familiar with this chapter will know in the verses that follow this reading, Lazarus did in fact die. And the people were not confused about that fact. He was not in some sort of a coma. Jesus said point blank in this chapter, Lazarus is dead. So how is this? Why does this make sense? And why is it, how could we say that these actions are an extension or an expression of the love of Jesus? Verse 5 opens saying, Jesus loved them. My friends, we must grasp that. We must just accept that. Jesus loved Mary, loved Martha, loved Lazarus. And in his actions here, he loved them. Later in this chapter, Jesus weeps. And about verse 36, I believe it is, the Jews that were standing around and saw it, they said, "Oh, look how Jesus loves them." My friends, they missed the point, but let me invite you, look how Jesus loved them. Verse 5 says he did love them. Verse 6 says, so, or therefore, depending on which translation you're reading, because he loved them, the way that he loved them, so or therefore, he stayed where he was for 2 more days. My friends, Jesus tarried there for 2 days because of his love. That doesn't make sense to us in our usual way of thinking. That doesn't fit the usual logic that we would use. But my friends, the message of this chapter is, Jesus said, the end of this illness is not his death. My friends, the fact that Lazarus died was not the end of the story, but merely the middle. It was something that needed to happen. For what purpose? Jesus said in the beginning, the opening of the chapter we already read, it's not for his death, but it's for God's glory. So, because Jesus loved them, he knew it was best for them to experience this, to bring about the end result of God's glory. Now, we'll tie the bow around this. We'll wrap it up with some more reading from this chapter. But for the time being, my friends, I want you to think upon this, to meditate upon this. It was because Jesus loved them that he remained for 2 days. The timing of the seasons of our life, the timing of the trials, how long that they are, how quickly we are delivered out of them or through them, my friends, is all a product of Jesus' love for us. And that's hard to grasp and certainly hard to accept. But I hope you see that through this chapter that it is true. Jesus loved Mary, loved Martha, loved Lazarus, so he stayed for 2 days.